Often when we don't have answers, when we can't see if there's even a there out there, a ticking clock is most detested. I know I'm not alone when I recall days where I've sat in quiet torment watching seconds agonizingly slide off into the past and wondered, when will this be over? When will I know? When? No one likes waiting. And when our solution is buried in the blackness of despair, time constricts our lungs and constrains our spirit to where thinking and breathing become wretched. Life becomes a listless crawl on broken glass, and hopelessness devours today while tomorrow seems a punishing creation. So what do? Well, the Bible tells us to wait patiently for the Lord. Why should we wait patiently for God? Why not now? Why not today? Will there be a sunrise that drives away our darkness? Let's talk. What do you do when you've reached out? You've done everything you've been told you were supposed to say, everything you were supposed to do. You've even read books and you've done those things and said those things, and it still isn't happening. There's not too many things more discouraging than when you realize you've reached the bottom of who you are and you're still in a pit. We're all waiting, aren't we? Non-stop waiting on something. Something better. Something more. Better marriage, a stop or at least a pause to our endless money issues. Maybe we have a frustration, a fear, a sadness, or overwhelming concern for our kids, grandkids, or parents. Or maybe you can't find that right person to spend your life with. There's this man named Jeremiah, and he wrote this really cool letter in the Bible that I guarantee you're going to be able to associate with. I know it makes me feel normal when I read it. You should read it as well. Jeremiah basically cries, he moans, and he complains to God about his lack of a good life. Been there. Probably most of you have as well. He talks about how God is ignoring his needs and just seems distant and not helping him anymore. He even accuses God at one point of plotting against him, kind of like an alpha predator does its prey. Jeremiah is finished. He's finished with life, or at least it appears that way, until chapter 3, verse 21, when he suddenly stops his rant and says, "Yet." Wait, I was tracking with you, Jeremiah, and then you say, "Yet? Yet what?" "Yet I still dare to hope." Wow. Okay, and what? He tells us in 22, "The faithful love of the Lord never ends. His mercies never cease." So despite Jeremiah's awful life, because of God's perceived lack of help and our purposeful attacks at times, he still dares to have hope in God. Sure seems like life, God, time, they have to happen, right? And we have to walk it. And it is often littered with crushed dreams, trampled hopes, and buried ambitions. Seems most people I know have that walk. If not today, well, then it's coming. Sad truth. You're not alone. Look around you and you'll see me standing beside you with several hundred million more, just like us. You know what? I've had to consider this very tough thought. Maybe I'm not as strong as I thought I was. I'm not strong enough to handle some of those things that I think were my dreams. Maybe God, just maybe God kept me from a life of self-destruction because I'm not as strong as I think I am. I see a lot of people who get their dream and shortly thereafter, it becomes their nightmare. Jeremiah continues in verse 26. "So it is good to wait quietly for salvation, deliverance from the Lord." You know, it seems to me a prideful person, they always feel ready. Conceited person always believes they don't need to wait. But don't wise people realize they are only ready if and when God says they're ready? So while we're waiting, our job is to keep on keeping on. Waiting on God is not stagnant. It's a form of, I guess we'll call it active rest. Doing something about what's to come your way. You know, like praying as if God would do everything while acting as if he would do nothing. Praying as if God will do everything while acting as if he will do nothing. I mean, doesn't it seem smart to keep preparing for what God may give you tomorrow? Read and study his word. We should be seeking his voice, listening to his leading. It's really simple and yet oh so hard. We read his words because they lead us, and we listen to his voice because it guides and comforts us. Maybe some of you are saying, "I don't hear his voice." then stop your movement. Wait and listen. I mean, are you in a hurry to your own failure? I think waiting for God is a lot like waiting for the sunrise. We have dark and scary hours, but I know this, the sun, it will rise just as sure as I know God leads his children. At just the right moment, the sun will appear and the darkness masking the unknown will be removed. And the light will expose your path. It will let you know your next step. Oh, and not 1 second too soon and not a second too late. And when it happens, you're not going to have to ask, am I there yet? You're going to know. Just a parting thought. If it's God who's in the way of you getting what you want, do you want to push him out of the way to get it?